Morning, everybody, and welcome to Just Talking 24, page 9. Um, from the beginning, I've told you this is a work in progress, and we're going to make changes. And when I make a mistake, I'll admit I made a mistake and I'm going to change it. The first page, I told you that, there are three rules. Rule number one, keep it clean. Rule number two, no politics. Rule number three, no religion. That's going to change. um, I still want it clean. I want this show to be something that this page or this presentation to be something that we can show our kids. And although they may not understand it, it won't be something that will hopefully affect them in a negative way. I want this to be a positive experience for them. Um, but I am opening it up the subject matter to politics and religion. But the politics, I won't be talking specifically like just about a Democrat. It's politics in general, religion in general, everything in general. Um, I don't want to nitpick too much. And the what brought me up to this was I like to keep updated with the news. I try to keep abreast what's happening, but you don't have you gotta disseminate nowadays. Before you could watch the news and you'd have to believe Walter Cronkite, right? He wouldn't lie to us. Yeah, right. Um, but we were more trusting back then. Nowadays, I don't know if I'm more cynical, more bitter because we see more BS out there. You know, like these they sit on Animal House. Push it. You know, I love that scene. But it's true. A lot of it is cow manure, and it's pretty sad. But the what brought me to this point is how they're treating President Trump. The press, well, the press has always been liberal, but they're really showing, and they have no qualms about it. They just come out and just right out lie, you know, or they paint it in such a way that it's not untrue, but it's just not the truth, the whole truth. One of those things was what's happening on the Gaza Strip. Um, I see President Trump's reasoning. I hope I understand why he's doing it. And the reason is to bring peace. And you may not believe this, but this is the. Remember, I talked to you about balance? Okay, this is the balance part. He's trying to bring peace to the Middle East. Stop the killing. Okay, maybe if we force them to live in peace, they'll learn to live in peace. Which I no way, because the Palestinians will not do it. Um, See, he's telling them we're going to take the Gaza Strip and turn it into a resort, and to stop all the fighting, the U.S. will run it. The U.S. will own it. That will be U.S. owned land. Now, a lot of the world is saying, well, they're looking down on it as an expansion process of the United States. But then, okay, knowing how, and they are ineffective, the UN is, because the UN says something and the rest of the world goes, yeah, okay, whatever. They're totally ineffective. The U.S. still has little bit punch left. We don't have much, but we got a little bit. Of course, it's made with all Chinese chips and everything. Chinese microchips, but that's all right. Um, and so we'll be the bad guys. We'll be the scapegoats. You can hate us. We don't care. I mean, we already hate it anyway, right? What's another hate? Um, but if the U.S. owns it, nobody's gonna mess with us. They may not like it, true, but they won't mess with us because, and that's the part. We've become so rubber ducky. Our legislature. I mean, we've just got no cajones. They have, these people have no cajones. But the military still is the military, and they're still under Trump. Now, they don't need a declaration of war to do um, a responsive attack on somebody. If they get attacked, they can return. They can return fire, and they can have an open policy about that. And the whole world can know. You mess with us, we will kick your butt. And then we'll see. But the thing is, we gotta follow through. Okay, no matter what happens back, as long as Trump's got their back, they gotta follow through. So if there was an operation somewhere in the Middle East where a town, a military encampment was being attacked, and they told the Russians, "What are you doing?" And the Russians said, "No, we don't have any Russians in the area." And the military said, "Understood." And so what they did was they totally bombed, they blanketed. I mean, they killed every living thing in the area around them. I mean, they came in with everything we had. And they've sent a message to the Russians saying, "You're right, there are no Russians in the area." And they were met with, "Understood." See, don't, you push us only so far, and, we still have that ability. And I guess having all that eunuchs in the legislature, Congress, you kind of need that because you get all the war hawks in the military. Again, the balance. But with the U.S. presence there and U.S. property there, Israel cannot get blamed for stuff that happens to the Palestinians if the Palestinians attack the resorts. See how that's a trap for the Palestinians. There was no Palestine until 1988, when the PLO decided we want our own country. Before that, that area was divided between the Jewish and the Arab populations. It was set aside by the UN back in 1949, 48, 49, someplace around there. Yeah, and the state of Israel was created. Because Israel, what happened in the war to the Jewish people, the Holocaust, they went to the UN and they said, we want our own land, a land to call our own. And the UN, at that time, the UN had some clout because had, the powers that were in charge were world powers at the time. And they said, okay, fine. The Arab people didn't like it. The Egypt and Syria and Arabia didn't like it because it's like we want a Jewish state, but not in our backyard. We want a new prison, not in our backyard. We want halfway houses, not in our backyard. Everybody wants it, but not in their yard. Well, the UN said, we got this piece of land, the Gaza Strip and all that, and this will become Israel, the land of the country known as Israel. And this was back in 1949. And even though Egypt and Syria and Lebanon and all those countries in that area didn't like it, they accepted it, and they've learned to accept it. They've learned to open trading with them. They still have, I guess, religious and cultural differences, but they learn to put them aside. And they talk to each other. But, and it's the funny part, okay? These are all Muslim countries, right? Nobody wants Palestinians. When they interview them on TV, and they tell the people, because the people are crying, we gotta move and everything, we have, we don't have a home and everything, You know, they said, why don't you just go to Egypt? Why don't you go, just move? Because they don't want us. You know, they're supposed to be all brothers, right? Under their religion of Muslim. But yet, when the country, and not just Egypt, all the other countries around there don't want Palestinians. They're like the outcasts of the Muslim world. That's what it looks like to me. And that's just my observation. Remember, I tell you, you go by what a person does, not by what he says. And that's what the rest of the world did, the Muslim world did. They won't take the Palestinians. Something must be wrong with the Palestinians. I mean, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, that's a duck, folks. Right there, that's a duck. Something is wrong with them. And but they still pick fights with Israel. Egypt doesn't, Arabia doesn't, Syria doesn't, Lebanon doesn't most time. Iran still doing it because they're just as stupid. But Israel hasn't really gotten, they'll concentrate on Iran once the Palestinians are down. But the Palestinians are typical punk actions. It's like you make the trouble and then you run away and you run behind your brothers, your uncles or something, or your mother's skirt. But when the bully comes, well, not the bully, but the person that you offended comes in there, uncle standing his way, and that person gives the uncle one hit and the uncle's lying on the ground, what do? You're next, right? And that's what they do. They run behind mosques, they run into schools, they run, into civilian towns, civilian areas. They're just punks. That's, ugh. I get very upset when I see that kind of stuff. No courage. You need courage, and they don't have it. Or they talk a good talk. With the Kuwait thing. Remember who was it that said Ayla Khomeini said this is going to be the mother of all wars or something? Lasted 3 days. Who was that said it? But I mean, they all talk, and that's the part. Like they haven't learned. But they're going to learn. And you got to teach them. And that's not being... the word, yeah, you are being aggressive. But that's man. That's how man is. Man is an animal that only understands. And that's stupid. Instead of using intelligence and reasoning, no, we only understand the big stick. You get the big stick, you get the power. You get the power, people gotta listen to you. They don't respect you, but they fear you, and that's even better yet. You know me, I like watching movies, right? And one of the movies was A Bronx Tale. And Sonny, he says, these guys, they don't respect me, they fear me. And C asked him, is it better to be respected or to be feared? And the guy Sonny in the movie, I forget their name. I mean, these are, they're actors, but the stage, the character in there, Sonny, he said it's better to be feared because, and it's true, when you feared, for a person to come against you takes a lot more than if they just respect you. It's weird, but when a person respects you, it takes a lot more, not courage, it just takes a lot more reason to come after you. Because when they respect you, they'll talk to you first. And they'll reason with you. And usually you can work it out. But if they fear you, they're afraid to even come talk to you. It's a different process, but it works the same way. Oh, by the way, if I sound weird, it's because I'm trying a different mic. I'm trying one of those mini shotgun mics, and it seems to be working pretty good. I got it off of camera range like they said it would, and picked up the gain a little, and it's working good. So if I sound weird, it's because I'm not using I use either a dynamic mic, a condenser mic. And for those of you that don't know audio, there are different microphones and they do different things. And I just want to see how it is, because this is going to be probably used when I'm outdoors, but yet in a controlled outdoors. If I'm truly outdoors, like at the park, I'll be using another thing, one of those lapel mics. I'll be using one of those. But yeah, this is a different setup. So if I sound a little different, please, like I said, work in progress, right? So anyway, back to President Trump. That's why he wants to do the gods. He actually wants to bring peace. The man is, you gotta see, he says things to get your attention, but his reasoning is for the betterment of this country. He really wants to make America great again. He said, and he hasn't really, harped on this, but he wants to rewrite the Constitution. And I am in total agreement. The Constitution was written in 1776, and we marvel on it that it's come out this long. But like anything else, we're not living back in 1776. Our lifestyle has changed. The world has changed. Yet the Constitution, we've amended it, but it still remains the solidness. What we have to do is when I say rewrite it, is you take the core, you take the basic meaning of the Constitution and you amend it so that it will fit today's legal system. Because the legal system is not the same. It is not the same. No way. We have shot the Constitution so full of holes. It's a sieve. It's not solid anymore. That's why we have to rebuild it. And there's only so much patching you can do before you redo it. And one of the things that I think it needs, okay, and this part, you can have your basic constitutional document. What you do is you make an appendix to it, and the appendix will explain the intent of the different articles in the Constitution. And that appendix should be able to be changed and amended. It's like, how the best way to explain it. The Constitution would be the glue, the resin, and the appendix would be the catalyst to make it solid. And as it falls apart, you just change your catalyst. You make it, like your Constitution would be the water, and the appendix would be the heat. And as it gets cool, you got to reheat it. You got to change it. You got to change the amount of yeah. And it would prove the intent of that particular article. So therefore, the Supreme Court would rule not on the law, but did the intent of the law match the circumstances under which you're bringing your argument? I know it's really complicated, but it's really simple. The only thing is you got to try and get, 435 people on the same page. Try to do that when everybody has their own agenda. Yeah, rewriting the Constitution would take 250 years, Everybody wants the piece of the action. Everybody wants their own piece in there. And nobody thinks of, John Kennedy said it. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. And President Trump, he seems to me like he gets it. But you like this, my page. I don't want to tell you what to do, although I am, but I want to show you how to think. give you a different perspective of something, and try and see what I did. And then you can give your own perspective. See, that's why I didn't want to talk about politics or religion, because everybody has their own perspective, but not their own way of thinking. But they say they do, but they're not. They're actually trained. We're trained to think a certain way. Um, and when you do 1 plus 1, there are certain ways of doing it, and we're taught one way, and everybody does that way. But some people do it this way. Some they put it vertically, some horizontally, some can do it even diagonally, which is great. Everybody, as long as they come up with two, and even then, it's not a guarantee. I once went to a class. I think it was a pre-cal class, and this guy showed how 1 plus 1 equals 3. All these formulas, x, 1 plus 1 equals x, and then this. At the end, x equals 3. So 1 plus 1 equals 3. And you're over there, huh? And that it's commonly done, but and it was shown that you can manipulate numbers if you want to. You can they can be done whatever you want. And it was a pre-cal class, because my friend was invited me to that class because I wanted to know what it was about. Thinking about, oh, maybe I should try sit in on it the next year, because I kind of like numbers, yeah. But I found out it's all theoretical, and I don't like theoretical. Um, I'm one of those that 1 plus 1 equals 2, and that's all it's gonna be. But that's what Trump is doing, I think. I really think that. And I can see the reason. Like 9/11, when that happened, my first thought wasn't, oh my God. My first thought was, whoever thought of this is a freaking genius. And then when I looked, they kept showing it over and over. And I said, wait a minute. These two buildings coming down, too perfect. If it's too good to be true, it is. And that's going to be another day. Conspiracies. They're real. Really, they're real. So are aliens, by the way. And of course, so is God. But yeah, I wanted this particular page. It was going to be something, again. I was going to do something totally different. I'll do it later. But just to let you know, everything's going to change. We can talk. Please please subscribe, and please give me your ideas. Now, you give me any ideas, just keep it clean, please. Keep the subjects clean. Um, you could even talk about pornography if you keep it clean. If we just talk about the lewdness of, nudity and they could, degenerate acts and stuff like that. But nowadays, it's so. I mean, look at the language on TV, right? I mean, look at everything, just so down. But remember, bottom line is we still are the United States of America. United. That means we're all supposed to be one. Not each state doing his own thing. Although the 10th amendment in the Constitution does do that, says, if the Constitution doesn't cover a particular law, the states can make their own. Then that's why the states try to think that just because they can make their own, they don't have to listen to the federal government. But they forget that we're all part of the United States. And when the feds have a law for something, the states should follow it. One that comes to my mind, marijuana. It's still illegal by the feds, but yet the states say, we'll let medicinal, and then now certain states it's for uh, private use, recreational. Yeah, like believe Nevada, Colorado, Washington, Washington or Oregon, one of those two. Yeah, it's possession is nothing anymore. You can smoke And in a way, if you want to go for there, I'm for it. Really, I'm for legalization of drugs. The only thing is, if you get caught committing a crime while under the influence, you can't use it as diminished capacity. You driving a car loaded on marijuana, and you hit somebody, that's murder. That's not manslaughter. That's murder. Because you intentionally got behind a wheel loaded. That's just like putting taking a loaded gun and saying, I didn't mean to shoot him. Then why you put bullets in? Why you even brought a gun? That's just the way I'm very clear about that. And like I said, our legislators, they just don't have the cojones to make something like that. Why? Well, we don't have the prison space. Hey, then make more prisons. And we don't have to give them TV. We don't have to give them AC. Fans are fine. You know, TV. Who was the guy? Maricopa County, right? That sheriff over there. He went a little bit too far, dressed everybody in pink. But I think he only had 2 or 3 stations. He had the Disney Channel, um, the news, I think, and National Geographic. I mean, he only had like 3 stations on the whole TV. That's all you could watch. No computer, and to me, that's what prison's supposed to be. Prison is punitive. It is not. We found out that rehabilitation doesn't work unless the person wants to be rehab. And by these guys with the 47 convictions, kind of evident they don't want to be rehabbed, right? But anyway, this is about it for today. I don't want to go any further because only got like 3 or 4 more minutes, so we're going a little bit shorter. But I just wanted to try this out, and then if you see this in the post, then you know that the little problems I'm having with my editing, I've solved. But so bring it on. Like, subscribe, please. Tell your friends, and please give me suggestions now. Bring them in comments. And as always, every time, ahui ho, malama pono, and aloha. Bye bye. See you later. Have a great week.